Hey everyone, Scott here, and today we're going to be looking at Icy Carddass Dragon Ball. What this is a Dragon Ball trading card game that used to run in Japan, and it kind of formed the basis for the Dragon Ball Super card game that we got here kind of in the West. So ever since I started playing the Dragon Ball Super card game, I'd heard rumours about there's a Japanese version of this game, and it's going on at the same time as this one, and the rules are all the same, but the cards do different things. And then that came up the other day when I was talking on Discord, so I decided I wanted to actually take a proper look into it and see what I could find. And I came across this website here for the Icy Carddass card game. And the rumours, as we'll see, are kind of half true. This game clearly was the basis for the game we have, but if we can look up here, we can see that the game had a app related to it, and that was shut down back in 2018. And if we take a look a bit further down on the page here, we can see the last release that they had was in March of 2017, whereas the Dragon Ball Super card game we have kind of in the West, or the rest of the world outside of Japan, that first launched in America, I want to say it was July of 2017. So, like I said, the rumours are kind of half true. The game isn't still going on. And to be honest, it seemed like it was dead before our game even started. So yeah, basically what I wanted to do in this video is just have a look around on this website a bit, see what was going on with this version of the card game, see how it's similar to ours, how it's different. I will say I have had a look around beforehand, and I can say that there are some massive differences between this game and ours. And actually, let's just jump straight into that by looking at this how to play page. So, how to play the game itself. You can see here, Icy Carddass Dragon Ball is a 2-player trading card game, so same as ours. Once you have 41 cards, so by that they mean a 40 card deck and a leader card. So that already is one difference between this game and our game. When our game started, it was 50 cards in the deck and a leader. Now it's 50 to 60 and a leader. So their decks were already smaller. I don't think it's going to be on this page, but it did say the maximum number of a specific card you could have in your deck is 3, whereas in our game it's 4. And they didn't have any secretware equivalent as far as I can tell. So there were no cards that were limited to only one copy in the deck. But yeah, let's move on and look at the type of cards in the game. So they have leaders, like I say, the same as us. They have battle cards. And as you can see there, those are the only 2 type of cards listed. So there's no extra cards. We will talk about that a bit later as well. They did eventually get extra cards, but obviously they didn't update this page to include them. And as you can see, there's no unisons either. So one thing I wanted to point out before we move on, you see down here the cards have that is their power in the bottom left there, same as in our game I guess. But then you have this kind of number next to it. In this case it's a 2. Down here on this Vegeta and Gotenks it's a 1. On this Piccolo here it's a 2. So that is their strike points. And maybe you can tell from the name, it's similar to how cards in our game can have double strike. So for instance, this Goku leader here has 2, and it seems like that is standard for all leaders to have 2 strike points, both on the front side and the back side. So basically every leader as a rule has double strike. When I looked through the cards before, all I could see were cards with 1 or 2. So it seems like they didn't have triple strike or even quad strike in their game. And the other thing in terms of leaders, so this Goku here is on its backside, and it has 15k power. It seems like the front side of leaders had 10k power as a default, although I think there's a Hercule that only has 5k or something, and we will see that later when we start talking about the cards. And it seems like on the backside 15k is pretty standard in terms of a leader's power, although I did see some that were only 12k on the backside. And actually later in the game, in the later sets, set 5, and I think even one of the promo leaders had 20k on the back. And actually, even there was one Super Saiyan 4 Broly leader I saw that had 25k on the backside. So, and like I say, all those cards were kind of from later sets, so it seems like power creep was definitely a thing within this game. Like, they seem to have made stronger leaders as the game went on. But yeah, in terms of leaders, pretty similar to the way they work in our game, where they just start in play and you have to attack into them to do damage to your opponent. And then the other type of card that the game launched with was battle cards. Up here in the top left of the card is its level, which I think is the equivalent of energy cost in our game. And actually, we'll talk a bit more about battle cards and kind of how they differ from in our game a bit later on this page. But yeah, so in terms of how the game started, it's like once you and your friend have 41 card decks each, you place 7 cards in your life points instead of the 8 that we have. And like it says here, victory condition, attack your opponent until their leader's life points reach 0. So from when I looked at the cards, when I had a quick look through all the cards previous to this, I didn't see any that had like alternate win conditions, like with the Beerus we had in set 1 of our game, where you could pay like 16 energy just to win the game straight up. They didn't seem to have anything like that. It seemed like the only way you could win is either attacking your opponent down to 0, or you can also deck out in this game. So those, it seemed like, were the only 2 ways of doing it. So when you began a game, you both put your leaders down, you both put your deck down, and then you did rock, paper, scissors. Here's another big difference. You started with 3 cards in your hand in this game, as opposed to ours, where you start with 6. Their mulligan rule here in red is basically the same. You can put back as many as you want one time and draw the same amount. And again, it says here you put 7 life down, and then the game begins. I can see here kind of a playmat type design they probably would have had in this game, and you can see there's some very slight differences. So they still have the energy area down here at the bottom, and they had like the battle area next to the leader, kind of this where the battle cards would go. But then they have this area up here, which, so in all the images it says Ranson, but on the actual page itself, as we'll see later, it says melee area, so I'm assuming those are the same thing. And this seems to be the equivalent of the combo area in our game. I checked out a few gameplay videos, and it does seem like this is the combo area. So they had theirs kind of placed above the battle area, which I guess kind of makes sense. And then, like I say, over here on the left, they have like the life area. They have the drop area here. That they don't seem to have any equivalent of the war, as far as I could tell from any of the cards anyway. So yeah. Next, move on to game flow. So battles are turn-based. One player takes a turn, then the other. That seems pretty standard. There's different phases within the turn. Again, pretty standard. So first up, we have the charge phase. Similar to how each turn in our game starts with charge phase. The charge phase is different in this game. So what would happen is you would draw the top card of your deck to your hand, and then you would put the top card of your deck in your energy area. So unlike in our game, you don't get to choose what goes into your energy area. It's just randomly whatever was on the top of your deck at the, well, I guess technically second top of your deck at the start of your turn, because as far as I can tell, yeah, you draw 1 card to your hand, then put the second top card of your deck would go into your energy. It goes in upside down as well. And just saying here, if the player who goes first, they don't draw the card, but they do get the energy. So the next part of the turn would be the main phase, and in this phase you can basically just play cards from your hand or activate their skills on cards. Then you have the battle phase, and that is where you declare attack against your opponent's leader card or battle cards. And then you would have the end phase, and you can see from the images here, they call a card in kind of this horizontal position in rest mode and stand in this vertical position. It's active mode, same as the terms in our game. But yeah, the end phase basically you just do any end of turn effects, and then your opponent takes turn. So there's a few differences there, but things start to get really strange when we start to look at the main phase and battle phase in a bit more depth here on this page. So this is basically going to outline the in a bit more detail the actions you can take during your main phase and your battle phase. So first up, we have the main phase. During your main phase, you can perform the following actions. So you can play a battle card from your hand, And this is where things get really different. It's instead of switching cards in your energy area to rest mode, you actually take cards from your energy area and put them in the drop area, and that would be a number of cards equal to the level of the battle card you're playing from your hand. And as far as I could see, there's no rules about like having to drop a certain amount of a certain color for like a red battle card. You don't have to drop red cards from your energy area as far as I can tell. While cards do have colors, like in our game, it seems like those are only used for effects and skills. Then the next thing you can do during your main phase is activate your card skills. So any cards like active main, basically you would have on your cards, you could activate them. And then, as you can see here, you can also use your leader's Unleash skill. So rather than Awaken, in this game it was called Unleash, but it's basically the same thing. You turn your leader over. So yeah, those are all the things you could do in the main phase. Next up is the battle phase, and there's even more strange differences compared to our game in the battle phase. So the battle phase is divided into 5 steps. So the first one is the attack step. So you switch the card you're attacking with to rest mode, and then you declare which card you're attacking into. I couldn't see anything on this page when I checked before about whether you can attack your opponent's battle cards in active mode or not, or if, like in our game, you can only as like a default attack into rest mode cards. But once you've done that, you move on to the next part of the kind of attack step, which is you can, like it says here, move a battle card in active mode to your melee area. So this is what I was saying before about like that ransom area in the image. In the actual text here, they're referring to it as the melee area. But yeah, it seems there they have the same restriction of like you can only combo with battle cards from your battle area if they're in active mode. So it says here, spend energy to move a battle card from your hand to your melee area. So it seems like you couldn't free play combos. It seemed like every time you combo with a card, it had a cost if you're comboing it with from your hand, it seemed like. And that might not be such a big deal when we get to the end of the looking at all those different stages of the battle step. That might not be such a big deal, the fact that you're losing an energy every time you combo with a card from your hand. You can also activate card skills, so I'm assuming that's like, I think the same as in our game, cards will have like autos that trigger when they attack and things like that. And then you can use your leader's Unleash skill. So again, like in our offensive combo step, you can awaken your leader. Another big difference is here now. If you're attacking a leader card, then move on to the guard step. If you're attacking a battle card, then move on to the damage step. So basically it seems like if you were attacking into a battle card, your opponent cannot combo, as we'll see now when we look at the differences between the guard step and kind of the damage step. And then another thing is if you're not going for an attack, then move on to the end of the battle phase step. And when we look at this again a bit later, we'll see how that's different to how it works in our game. So next up we have the guard step, and like it reiterates here, the guard step only occurs when attacking a leader, does not occur when attacking a battle card. So the player who is guarding, so the player who's getting attacked into, can perform the following actions. They can combo with a battle card in active mode. They can also spend energy to combo with cards from their hands. They can use their card skills, and they can awaken their leader. Once all this is done, you move on to the damage step. Like it says here, this is the step where you battle your opponent. So you add up the power points on the cards making up the attack and the cards in your melee area. So they kind of have these two images here to kind of help you out. So one big thing is that battle cards don't have combo power. They just add whatever their power total is to the to your overall total. So like in this example, they're attacking with like a 12k boo. Then they add the power of this Gotenks that they combo with from their battle area. So that adds like his total 25k power. And then you add any that you've comboed with from your hand. So like in this case, this Vegeta adds its 12k power to the attack. So that brings it to like 49k total. The opponent just has their leader. They combo with a card from their battle area. So they don't get above the total that the attacking side has. So they take the damage. The attacking side wins, as you can see here. It says up here, the player with the higher total points wins the battle. When the points are tied, the attacking side wins. So same as our game. Now you might be wondering, well, why would they combo with something from their battle area if they know they can't get above? And we'll see that now in a minute when we move on to look at what happens after the totals are added up. So it says here, if the attacking side wins the battle, following action is performed. If you're attacking a leader card, your opponent takes damage. So in this game, taking damage means you take the same amount of points as your card's strike points from your opponent's life points and place them in their energy area. So unlike in our game where when you take damage, the card goes to your hand, in this game it goes to your energy area. So like I was saying before with like having to put cards in your drop area from your energy area in order to play cards from your hand or even to combo with cards, you can see that taking damage is another way to get those energy points back. Another way is if you're attacking a battle card, that card is KO'd. When a card is KO'd, it's placed in that player's energy area. So even if you're attacking into one of their battle cards, they still basically get to ramp up a bit. But then obviously when they play cards from their hand or combo with stuff, it kind of de-ramps them, I guess you could say. And then next up we have the battle completion step. So this is the step that completes a battle. So this is another way you can get cards into your energy area, which is at the end of a battle, you take the battle cards in your melee area and place them in your energy area. So basically, like I was saying before about like you seemingly having to pay to combo with cards from your hand, well, those cards would then go back into your energy area at the end of the battle. So it's maybe not such a big deal that you would have to basically lose in energy to combo with the card if you're going to get it back at the end of the battle anyway. And here's another big thing actually, is if there are still cards in active mode, go back to the attack step. And then when we look here at the end of battle phase step, this is the step that ends the battle phase. Once this step is complete, move on to the end phase. So basically what this is saying is that the battle phase is like a distinct step, kind of like it would be in a game like Magic the Gathering or Yu-Gi-Oh! As opposed to in our version of the Dragon Ball Super card game, where you can like do an active main, play a card, attack with that card, play another card, do another active main, attack with another card. You can kind of go back and forth between like the main phase and the battle phase. Whereas in this game, the battle phase is like a distinct step. And also, unlike a game like Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh!, you didn't get any kind of main phase 2. So once you ended the battle phase, that was you were just straight on to the end of your turn. So yeah, that kind of brings us to the end of the how to play page. And you can see there's a lot of differences between our game and this game. You can kind of see how it formed the basis of the game that we have, though. Like I say, there are some weird things like placing the energy in the drop area instead of just switching it to rest mode. Also the fact that cards just don't have combo power, they just add their total power to the... But yeah, it turns out there was also an app associated with this game, so let's have a look at that next. And you can see here that the IC Carddass Dragon Ball app features a complete reproduction of the deck structure, battles, etc. offered in the original IC Carddass Dragon Ball. So they basically had a digital version of the game. Which, when you consider that people often say, oh, Bandai, they're not able to make a digital version of our game because of rights or something. I mean, maybe it's different because this was only in Japan. Maybe the rights are different for, like, everywhere other than Japan. But yeah, they basically had a straight-up reproduction of the game as a digital app. One important thing to note here is we got this, like, date up here. So, like, the 24th of November, 2015. So if this was at the time that the game launched, which it seems like it did launch at some point in 2015, based on when the last release of cards for this game was, the game lasted just over a year. Like, we saw that the last set of cards came out in March of 2017, so that's like, what, 14, 15 months, basically, that this game lasted, or at least from when the app was released. I'm assuming the game launched with the app, because the starter sets that I saw for this game that you can still find on places like eBay, they come with a device to scan the cards into the app. So I'm assuming the app launched the same time the card game did. So if this game only lasted, like I say, about 15 months, our game has way gone past that. I mean, we're almost coming up to the 4th anniversary now this year it'll be. So yeah, let's look at this page a bit more and learn a bit more about the app. So there was a tutorial battle part of it, similar to how the app we have over here has tutorials. I mean, the app we have over here, basically all it is a tutorial app. But then you could also scan the cards. Like I said, the starter set seemed to come with a device you could use to scan the cards, because I believe, yeah, you could have the app either on Android or on Windows. So I'm assuming the device was for the Windows version, whereas it seems like the Android version, you could just use the camera on your phone to scan the cards. And then you could scan them into the app and you'd have like a digital binder. You could also get the cards digitally, and they would like make a distinction between which cards you had like physical versions and which ones you had like digital versions of. You could build decks, pretty standard, but then you could also use it to battle, so you could straight up play the game within the app. And it says here you could do online battles, either random battles or against your friends. Whereas, like I said, our version of the app, you can only do battles against a computer, basically to learn, with like a pre-constructed deck. You didn't have all these features of like making your own deck and playing against your friends and stuff. It also seemed like it had some like gacha type things of getting the like digital versions of the cards, and there were like other digital items you could get. But yeah, their version of the game had an app. Ours doesn't seem like it will ever have an app. I think Bandai have officially said there's no plans to make an app for our game, which is a bit of a shame considering that they had one for the basically Japanese version of our game. And one last thing I wanted to look at before we move on to the card list. I want to have a quick look here in product info, or product intro rather. Let's take a second for this page to load, and it's this one here, Booster Pack 05, which seemed like the last one that was released. We want to go to more info, and yeah, we can see here, in addition, Series 5 features a new type of card called the Extra card. So they didn't get extra cards in this game until set 5. They also didn't get keyword skills, as we can see here, till set 5 either. And we can look down here for an example of some of the keyword skills they had. So Surge, which is totally different from what Surge means in our game, is after this card enters the melee area from your hand, it will go to the battle area instead of the energy area during the battle completion step. When you comboed with it, it would basically come into play, and then you could attack with it rather than it going to your energy. And that was only on red cards, as it says here. And then on blue cards, it had this skill, Replenish. At the end of a battle in which this card attacked, place 2 cards from the top of your deck in your energy area, so you ramp in even more in blue. So at the end of a battle, not only would you get the cards that you comboed with into your energy area, you get the top 2 cards of your deck also into your energy area. And again, just thinking how busted that would be in our version of the game. So that brings us to the end of this video. When I recorded all this, I intended for it to be one video, but I haven't gone through and edited it down. It is just going to be way too long to be a single video, so I'm going to be releasing it as 3 parts. So part 2, which is when we'll start to look at the actual cards from this game, that'll be out tomorrow. Then part 3 will be out the day after that. So if you want to see those videos and you're not subscribed, make sure to do that, and you'll get notified tomorrow and the day after when they're released. Also, if you could go ahead and leave a like on this video, I would really appreciate it. And if you have anything you want to let me know, put it in the comment section down below. And thanks for watching.